let us remember our schools before we talk about what happens to our schools. Our schools were so vibrant. Each school was unique. And so we want to take time to honor that and to figure out exactly what to remember about our schools.
If you think about the sort of like developmental stages of children at that age, the one thing children need is stability.
Chicago Public Schools confirmed what the teachers union feared.
Shuttering 50 Chicago public schools left many impacted students struggling to keep up.
I think that's a bad idea. I mean, all of the decisions that get made about school closings and school openings at that level run through the mayor's office.
We're going to utilize obituaries in a succinct way, but a little different because we are memorializing a building or a community. And then as you fold to the next page, it gives you what? What this person was and what that school meant to the community or to you if you were directly affected by its closure.
I want to create one for Anthony Overton and also talk about the day he died and then the day that the system killed him off over it again, right? He had a hygiene company, successfully, a product, cosmetic, baker, a judge. One black man was all that, right? But as this system is so painful, they killed him in 2013 so our kids would not know the legacy of who Anthony Overton is. And he has brought many generations together. Anthony Overton School accommodated mostly African-American children. So it was just amazing that we had that type of history and richness in our community, right? And instead of lifting him up even more, this country cut him off. So much success came out of that school, but now we have nothing.
The school that I'm representing in this Closing Schools and the Hate Crime campaign is Bessie Ross. So as I began to hear more about the school closing and how it affected the families and how kids had to go to schools out of their community and they were getting jumped on or running into gang wars, it made me kind of want to be more involved with my children in the schools that they were attending.
I found out that May was set to be closed on the news. I was at home after work one day. I think I was watching the maybe 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock news.
The Chicago School Board has just voted to close 49 schools. The district says it needs to close schools to address a looming $1 billion deficit and declining enrollment. It is the largest mass public school closing in U.S. history.
I remember seeing a list a little bit later and seeing my school on that list. And I think the feeling was a heart drop. I think I was overwhelmed with lots of emotions, a lot of uncertainty, and certainly anger.
They took everything from us. Our neighborhoods, our communities, the connection we had. They took everything. So us parents, it's not that we don't care. We have to work 2 and 3 jobs just to provide for our kids. They broke our families. So we don't have that community that we had fought. It just taking everything from us. They did that, to gentrify, to bring things back after we're gone. Chicago's made up of mostly blacks. And now we're down to what, 28, 29%? I did not know we had the power to come together to stop something like this. So I just thought when they told me that my kids had to go to another school, I had to take what they gave us. Until my mother stood up for us all and she was a voice for the community. Even though it was a small group of us, I think it was a powerful group.
When I found out that Harper High School was closing, because I didn't know until the principal would say, Miss Brown, do you know the school's closed? I said, I did not know. That was in 2015 when that started. It went on and on. We protest. I got some of the children together. We got the other schools that came together. You know, we all start coming together, even though you were from different areas.
When I attended Walter H. Dyer High School in 2010, we had a full class school with freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. About 2011, we heard that 50 schools were slated to be closed and Dyer was on the list to phase out.
Supporters say the city neglected the school for years before announcing plans to close it.
The teachers union calling the schools that are named on a so-called hit list.
You're talking about really waging war on and targeting an entire black working class neighborhood.
We went to the mayor and he denied us. We went to the alderman and he denied us. We did press conferences in front of our school. We went downtown to City Hall, and we kept that fight going from 2010 to 2014 until we inspired community organizers, teachers, and parents to go on a 34-day hunger strike.
I know it's such a sad time when we're putting things together about our loved ones, but in that same right, we find the joy of why they existed.
I think one of the things that becomes important in an obituary of this type is what memories we have of the place. You know, sometimes when you see obituaries, you see when people talk about what this person stood for, right? And what that person actually wanted to do in the world. My resistance came in the form of making public knowledge of this. So like, it's not just this new set of closings, but it's connected to this longer history when you look at Black people demanding quality education. It's always been in the context of closures. So OR was started in 1917, actually as a school that was gonna do technical training. 97, it had actually been reconstituted. So everybody got fired, all the teachers got fired, and then they got a whole different crop of teachers. Then it got broken up into small schools. Then it went back to a comprehensive school. And then that comprehensive school got turned around, and then now it is a shared location with a local charter school. So OR has actually gone through all 5 types of school closures.
Right now, I'm representing Gresham Elementary School. The school is not closed right now. What they did was a turnaround. And at that time, we didn't even understand what a turnaround was. We were like, turnaround, what's going on? And then when we figured it out, it was just a way of them firing us all. Everyone lost their jobs. We had to apply for our jobs again. No one got their job back but 2 people, 1 security person and a lunchroom person. That's the sad part. I miss it. That was my alma mater. I graduated from my school.
But even though my school didn't need closing, but it still affects all the neighborhood schools. But now, it's not like I'm closing the school because, you know, they have too many problems in the school, electrical, plumbing, or asbestos. It's not just closing old school. They closing decently built schools. And then shipping kids outside their location or area where they deal.
Closure of a school or making things being divided, separated, has a big impact on a child. And that tends to make them go look elsewhere for things to do. The school is there, supposed to draw them to the school, not send them away.
It closed down and became 4 different schools. But currently, it is backbone high school as one school, even though they did kind of partition off some of the school to a neighborhood charter. The closure didn't make it any better because it became more of a rival within the infrastructure of the school. People were fighting for a place of belonging.
The current status of the school is that it was turned around. It was called Ryerson Elementary School, and now it's called Laurel Ward School. And that was really taxing and stressful and hurtful and painful because Laurel Ward was our rival school. The fact of the school being renamed from Ryerson Elementary to Laurel Ward Elementary was like the, capturing of the flag, like they captured our building. If you hear about a school closure, the thing is find out who are the people who are fighting back and to be a part of that. It isn't about, one specific school, but it's part of a, larger community and a way of our voices be heard as a collective versus an individual school.
I work with a lot of people who have a lot of beautiful dreams for Black education. And we've been dreaming a lot. And the question I ask is, what does it take for us to actualize those dreams?
This is a beautiful opportunity socially and politically for us to get really, really serious about what education is for us and how is that different than what it has been.
I think the vision for the future will include community engagement, but in a way where community always has space in these new schools.
There will always be people who are going to say, your school doesn't matter, these kids are not being educated, you're inadequate, you don't deserve to stay open. But we already have the resources, we have the tools, we have the community to push back. I think that might make more of a difference.
I could go on and on about my vision for Black education, but I think it starts with joy, love, laughter, humility, and justice, not just from the outside, but also from the inside.